And we're live. Greetings, everyone. It is I, Mallory. I mean, who else would it be, right? And it's just the first stream. This is the first stream of 2024. Welcome to Lunch with Mal in 2024. The year where I actually maybe turn this into like a real thing. I'm actually rather excited about that. So since I always either A, forget to tell Jill, or Jill is busy, I shall function as my own producer and put out the everyone post on Facebook. Hey, Allie. I don't normally stream this to my main YouTube channel, but I decided to do that today. I think I'm going to do that in the future as well. I don't know why I didn't. The more the merrier. All right, everyone. Making the everyone post for Facebook. Talking Shopify and direct sales. There we are. So how are you doing, Allie? Long time no talk. And we've got 7 people here already. You guys are like on it. You should do it to all your channels. I mean, yes, I should. I only have a few more with like actual good followers, but I've got my main YouTube, the Writing Wives YouTube, the Writing Wives on Facebook, and my main Facebook profile right now. So that's the bulk of it. So who's here? Sound off. Let's hear who's bringing in the new year with Lunch with Mal. I'm trying to think of something to follow up with that. I need water though. It's hot in this room right now. It's like 78 degrees Fahrenheit, which has got to be like what, 26 Celsius, which I know like isn't hot, but it feels hot. I run, for those of you who don't know, I run a bunch of computers in here in the winter to heat it. You can see 2 of them behind me there. They do science and they heat the room. Plus my main computer does that too. So I can keep the room even when it's well below freezing, almost at room temperature. But when the sun is shining, it gets toasty. But if I leave the door open back there into the garage, it can get really cold. So I'm always kind of like trying to balance it all. I mean, the helmet does kind of, give you the Stormtrooper vibes there, Troy. I totally get that. All right, let me see if I can bring up the comments over on Facebook. There we go. Delta and a friend. Hey, Delta and a friend. And hey, Amy. Nice to see you guys. And of course, Danica and Allie and Troy. This sort of an interesting thing, as lately we've been getting more people on YouTube. So of course, not everybody can see each other's comments. So I'll do my best to show comments on the screen so that everybody has context for everything that's going on. But it's awesome to see all of you here. It's awesome to see everybody who's not here who will watch the replay, because apparently, I always say this, I'm like, apparently a lot of people watch the replay. Like, I'm sort of flabbergasted it happens. I should like just be okay with it now. But I don't know, it still kind of really surprises me that it happens. Jill and I are also shopping right now. I got to show this to you guys because I think you'll appreciate it. I really want to get this. I just saw it today. I was just sort of like browsing around and saw this today, and now I want it. This has nothing to do with the main topic, but I feel like that's also an important part of Lunch with Mel, that we have to like have things that are not part of the main topic be talked about. Like, look at this dress. Is that not amazing? It's 3 parts, so it's not a cheap situation. It's 360 pounds. So probably about like what, 450, maybe with shipping close to 500 US to get this. But anytime you get latex clothing, which I'm actually wearing today, it's always handmade. And so this one is probably like, that pattern is like handmade. Like every part of that pattern on that dress is handmade. So you can imagine why that would cost so much. But yeah, it's totally gorgeous. And I would love to have it. And then Jill saw a dress that she'd like to have, and I would like Jill to get a latex dress at some point. I'd be totally down with that. So I didn't respond to that directly to Jill because we're doing Lunch with Mal. But if you're here, Jill, which I think you are now, yes, you should get that. Jill's the I am here. There we are. Ta-da. And hey, Sonia as well. Hi. I'll get it for you once you finish. So, you know what you should really do, honey, is I think I need that for the Future of Publishing conference in Orlando, in New Orleans in February. I think that's a solid plan because phase two Solaris is going to take all year, so it's not really going to work as a great motivation for me. Just saying. I look forward to that, honey. So anyway, so I'm curious who's currently, and you can add this comment later if you're watching the replay, who currently does direct sales in any fashion. And that could be, events, and let me know what it is. Events, doing something like Shopify or WooCommerce or PayHip, and then also like a Kickstarter. Those are all things that are direct sales. Who does direct sales right now? All right, so Troy does. Troy be on the YouTubes. You could use a positive reinforcement, like by make it hit a milestone or something. Or for New Orleans. If you got me that and I had for New Orleans, I think I could be persuaded to apply extra focus. I'm down with that. Let's see. Jody has PayHip and starting in person next month. I have a couple of clients who have PayHip, and I think like in general, PayHip's okay, but I'm starting to see some things that PayHip doesn't do that other platforms do that are starting to make me feel like PayHip is not an ideal situation. Shopify for Troy, about to start conventions. Hey, Marisha. How are you doing? And then this is Amy. Oh, wait, not Amy. This is Sonia. Only sign books on our websites, but we use PayPal for payments. Okay. So you're getting there. Totally. So from the looks of it, not a lot of people are doing digital sales yet in here. I don't know that I see anyone that's doing. That makes sense, Jody. That you don't make enough to justify Shopify's monthly fee. An option there that people might want to consider is that Shopify and Wix and Shopify have actually pretty good feature parity. There are some sort of key differences in how they implement things that can make one or the other more compelling, but both of them can actually be your store and your author website, and that can actually reduce your costs quite a bit. So you wouldn't need, hosting for an author website and hosting for an e-commerce store. You could do them both together. Now, there might be some reasons why you don't want to do that, but I'm just putting that out there. Also, one kind of cool thing about Shopify too is that right now, if you sign up, they'll give you the first three months for $1 a month. So if you want to run an experiment and just try it, you can actually do it pretty low cost. I believe that Shopify's monthly fee for like a good bit of e-commerce is about $27 a month. Let's pull it up. Oh, I'm off. Let me share my screen and we'll just take a quick peek at it. Present, share screen, window. So there we go. It's weird. It's got like this little pop-up here where it's showing me how many people I have in this thing. Okay, good. It was like I had this little pop-up that was covering half the screen. So it's $39 a month, or if you pay yearly, it's $29 a month. And then the one thing they do is they take different percentages of your transactions. Oops, I guess it didn't highlight so well, depending on what tier you're at. So higher tiers, you pay less per transaction than you do in lower tiers. Wix as well, which one thing I like about Wix versus Shopify is Wix has a drag and drop website builder. Like it's literally you drag and drop things into place. Oh no, I don't want to go there. I want to go to Wix's actual website. Maybe I'll just Google Wix and see if I can just get to their mark. No, don't go there again. That's Google. You're failing me. There. I want to just go to their main website. What if I just go here to www.wix.com? Does this log me in? Sometimes it's frustrating when you have an account with someone and you want to see like their main pages. Oh, I know what I can do to do this. Also Wix pricing. To give you an idea, aeon14.com, my website is built on Wix, as is the as is the Writing Wise website is on Wix. No, this keeps showing me all of my sites to upgrade. I'm gonna have to do this in incognito window. That's frustrating. I've run into this before, and they said they were changing it and fixing this because I have an account manager there. Wix, by the way, used to be terrible. They used to be like a definite not good system. But they've really in the last few years gotten pretty amazing. All right, pricing. One of the things I especially like about Wix too is that Wix can also be your newsletter provider, and their pricing on that is really good. Like we have a plan where for $50 a month, we can have an unlimited list size and an unlimited number of sends each month. But the cool thing with Wix is if you sign up with them on a monthly plan and you just sort of let that ride for a few months, invariably, they will eventually offer you 50% off to go yearly. So we actually pay $25 a month for unlimited newsletter size and unlimited email sends. So, accept payments. So you need a plan that accepts payments with Wix, which is their core one here, which is $27 a month. That's probably why I had that in my head. And this is probably the monthly bill, the yearly billing too. I'm guessing. If you choose to do per month versus per year, it's probably a little bit higher. So Wix and Shopify are pretty comparable, but Wix is much easier to build a full website with, and they can be your newsletter for that price. So they can be a little more compelling. Yeah, I did go. I was thinking that, Marisha, as I do this, like I could go incognito, but like they have to stop the share and start a new one. That's like work. Who wants to do that? It's pretty impressive, Delta, how well, like if you do bundles and you have upsells and stuff like that, you can do pretty well. One of the things I found just today, because I haven't like really done deep dives into PayHip too much, is that PayHip doesn't have an app store. So you can't add in any third-party apps. So if PayHip doesn't have the feature, there's kind of no easy way to bolt it on. And something that both Wix and Shopify have that I really like is you can actually install review apps that will import your reviews from Amazon. So you can take your books on Amazon, import the reviews in, and then you've got your book just sort of launched with way more reviews. So it gives you like a much more fully featured product page. And that's something you can't get with PayHip. A few days earlier and for $1 less, that's a good idea. I actually think I would probably do almost as much as a week earlier, but it would depend if I'm in KU or not. And I actually wouldn't offer them for less because the people that are going to buy in your PayHip store, your hardcore fans, offer it at the main price. Just be like, hey, if you can, here's this offer for a week early. If you're buying the book and not reading in KU, I would really appreciate if you bought it here because I get way more of the money this way, and it's just freaking awesome. So something to keep in mind. That's awesome, by the way, Jody. Having the full spread in there really makes a good difference, and being able to offer the upsells. So if someone buys your ebooks and you're like, hey, for $5 more, I'll give you the audiobook if you have the rights to do that. You can get a lot more with upsells. Oh, that's cool. I forget, Jody. What do you write? I should know this. I've looked at your books before, but it's escaping me just at the moment. Wait, did Jill say send me my sizing for that dress? Is that what I need to pop back to see who said that? Oh, that was Jill that said that. For those of you who showed up late, let's just take a quick blast to the past here and see the dress that Jill is saying to send my sizing for. Ta-da! Look at that, right? Look at that. That is unbelievable. I'd be super stoked. All right, but many of you don't care about that sort of thing, so we're cruising along. Go incognito. All right. I think the draw is getting early. She writes time travel. Time travel. Okay, yeah. So you got like sci-fi elements. So totally, that's for Jody, I assume. Oh yeah, there we are. Historical time travel. So that'll work well for Comic Cons because Comic Cons you have to have something that like sort of fits the sci-fi fantasy nerd vibe. I was at Boston Comic Con a few years ago now I wasn't there last year. It might have been 2 years ago that they had this, maybe 3 years ago they had this, but they actually had the full Back to the Future setup there. They had the DeLorean. It drove because I was selling there, so I actually watched them drive it in, and it drove under its own power and everything. And they had like the truck. Remember the Toyota truck that Marty McFly really wanted, and that he got at the end of the movie? They had that truck. They had like an Einstein to sit in the car with you, and they had like a bunch of other props and stuff like that. And then people could go there and get their pictures taken in all the vehicles. And it was just like, this is super cool. And it was bombed. Like there were people there everywhere. So yeah, yes, totally is something like that. Just like such a cool dress. Um, I would rock that dress in New Orleans in February. That'd be perfect for it. All right. Oh, I've caught up with all the comments. Look at that. Go me. Woo, woo, woo. So yeah. So I've been doing a lot more with direct sales myself. I ran an experiment in December. Actually, it's funny. I normally never set Facebook ads to have an end date because I invariably forget that I set that. And then the ad ends. I prefer to actually just sort of keep an eye on my ads. And I was doing direct sales through my Wix website. I'm still setting up the Shopify version, but I was doing direct sales through my Wix website, and they were actually starting to really pick up. And then they died over Christmas. I'm like, geez, what happened? But I didn't have time to look, so I didn't really check in on anything. Checked in on it like about a week ago and realized I set an end date on the ad, and it turned off on the 20th. I was just like, yeah, if I had let that run over Christmas, reasons why you don't set end dates on ads. You just watch your ads. Because I guess the answer to that too is I should have watched my ads, because I would have realized that the ad had ended due to an end date. So anyway, I fired that back up again. What else doing? I think I fired up like later yesterday, so it might not have actually really got much going on yet. One of the things with direct sales ads through Facebook is they do take longer to make sales, generally because you're selling higher priced things. What works the best is to sell bundles, which I'm sure that you guys have all seen. Oh no, got some sales rolling in again already. So that's awesome. I can't show the screen because it's got people's personally identifiable information on it, but there are sales rolling in. Let me bring up the page and I'll show you guys what that page looks like. The books. Shoot. It's a hidden URL that I have too. So ebooks by direct product page. The right part. Hold please. Here we are. So this is the page people land on. Let me embiggen this a little bit. And so the best way to sell when you're doing stuff on direct sales is by doing bundles. And effectively, a bundle is an omnibus edition, but with a difference. With the retailers, we don't have this concept of doing bundles, so we made omnibuses as our way to get around that. But with the direct sales, we can literally just do these things as a bundle and show all the individual covers for the books. And you get to the strike-through price. The strike-through price is pretty key. And these books do sell for $5 a pop. So I'm not artificially inflating the strike-through price, although I feel like it's not the end of the world if you were to artificially inflate it a little bit. There are some cool things you can add in on the different stores, like in Shopify, on Wix. I can put this in to let people pick their denomination, their currency. And then, of course, you can have your blurb in there. And I have a little bit of instructions. I'm currently not using anything like BookFunnel or whatnot to deliver the books to people. I just basically say, like, hey, after you purchase this, you're going to be given a link to download the files in a zip format. When you do, you want to go to amazon.com/send to Kindle and upload them. And I have an email that goes out after they buy that says that. And the purchase receipt email also says that. So they get sort of like hit with this, go to amazon.com/send to Kindle to get your book up there. And then I also have all of these Amazon reviews that are all populated in here. And both Wix and Shopify both have free plugins that can do this for you. They do limit how much you can do on the free versions, but for me, free was enough. This book on Amazon has hundreds and hundreds of reviews or more. I just pulled in 73. I just said pull in 4-star and 5-star reviews, and pulled in 73 of them. And works like a charm. And then you also add in things like, I already triggered it and turned it off, but if they try to leave the page, a pop-up will be like, don't go. And it'll say like, here's a $3 coupon code for you to, carry on. And if they say buy now, this is another big thing that's really important to do. I think I would have had to do I have to add to cart? There's a couple of different pop-ups I have here that will prompt people. Oh, I already had it in my cart. That's why it didn't prompt me for the. I already have the book, the second package in my cart, so it didn't prompt me to add it. But if I hadn't, it would have actually popped up and said like, "Hey, we'll give you a deal if you buy the second package, the second bundle for the series as well." So that sort of thing is really the biggest part of doing direct sales. It's all about the upsells, because getting someone to your website to make a purchase can cost you $10 to $20 in ads. It's not uncommon to actually have to spend that much money to sell one of these things. So it's those upsells where you move yourself into profitability. And of course, the other thing is that you have to think about like the longer term post purchase sales, because Amazon's doing a lot of stuff for us. It's sending out emails saying like, hey, you read this book by this author. Do you want to read this other book? And when they get to the end of your book on their Kindle, an Amazon ad takes over that theoretically shows your next book. Not always, but it usually does. So if you go direct sales, you have to do a lot of that yourself. You've got to handle that continuing engagement with the reader to get them to buy the next thing from you. And that's, to be honest, a bigger part of setting up your Shopify or whatever kind of direct sales store you do than the initial setup itself. Getting the products up there and the images, while time consuming, is relatively easy. It's all of that post-purchase workflow that you really want to do. And so, yeah, Jill just mentioned who would join a Build a Shopify site with Mal class in February. I'm going to be teaching one early February. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to walk through building a Shopify store soup to nuts in about 3 hours. I'll be cheating a little bit in that I'm going to walk through the beginning parts of setting up your store, and then I'm going to sort of segue to a store that's already partially set up, so that you don't have to sit with me while I add a whole whack of books in, because that can take a while. So it might, you might not be able to get it done in 3 hours. It might take you like 4 or 5, depending on how many books you have. It could take you a couple of days if you have a ton of books, but I feel like most people will start out, like you'll pick 1 or 2 series. And I'm also going to show sort of like the bare bones, minimally viable product way of doing this versus like putting in the effort to build this massive, fully fledged store. Because to be honest, it doesn't make sense to build a store that sells everything every which way right from the get-go. It makes a lot more sense to say like, hey, here's the thing that's most likely to sell and is most profitable for me. I'm going to build it with that. And then I will slowly build out more and more functionality in the store, adding more and more products. And the great thing is that gives you more opportunity to email people and be like, hey, this series is now on my store. If you'd like to get it direct from me, you can get it, versus having just everything there. It gives you some options that way too. Is there a reason you would build a Shopify store if you already have a Wix store? I'm curious who said that, because it just says Facebook user. Sonia. There are a few reasons, and I don't know if any of them are enough to cause someone to build a Shopify store when they already have a Wix store. I'm actually in the process of building a Shopify store that mirrors my Wix store to see if there is any secret sauce that helps Shopify work better in like a one-to-one direct comparison. I think one thing that Shopify has going for it is perhaps a little bit more of a robust app store environment, although Wix also has a very robust app store environment. The other thing that Shopify has going for it is so many stores use Shopify now that when people get to the checkout process, Shopify already has their credit card information. So it's just one little bit of friction removed from the purchase process. The third reason why I think Shopify might be a bit better is that they have the Shop app. And so if you're using the Shop app on your phone, it could prompt someone to, it'll actually it does cross promotion. It'll be like, hey, you might also like these other books. I don't know if the cross promotion, the Shop app is particularly good, but it does make it so that your products might be appearing to people who aren't directly searching for you. So that's a bit of a bonus as well. Wix does also have an app as well, but it's not really as widely adopted as the Shop app is. So just an option there. Hey, Ashlyn, how are you doing? just joined on YouTube for those of you who aren't there. So yeah, that's kind of it. But I do really want to actually like try both, um, and see if there, like I said, if there is any secret sauce. PayHip I think is great, and I think PayHip's a little bit less expensive too. I need to double check pricing. I don't think it's super cheap, but PayHip has no store. Another really interesting option that I think is still viable, and some people will like poo-poo them because of their per product pricing, is Etsy. Um, a bonus that Etsy has for you now, Etsy will charge you like 20 cents for each product that you put up, and then they'll charge you when the product renews, but you can set some very long expiration dates for the products. I don't know if digital products actually need to renew. I think they do. I just think it's like a very long period of time. But the really interesting thing with Etsy is that they have a whole ads platform. So you can run Etsy ads on Etsy to your store. Etsy cross promotes stores. So when people are browsing for something, it might promote your store that also has that thing. And then Etsy also has basic search functionality, but Etsy also handles all of the taxes for you. And that's kind of the bonus that some people might want, because technically, if you are doing direct sales, you do need to figure out what you need to do for taxes. And Etsy will handle all of that for you. Now, my view on taxes is largely that if I am outside of said country's jurisdiction, like let's say that said country is England, I live in the United States. I don't really believe it's incumbent upon me to collect taxes on behalf of England and then remit it to England. They can be their own tax man, thank you very much, or woman, or person. So I mainly just worry about the jurisdiction in which I live insofar as collecting taxes is concerned. And by and large, at least for those of you in the United States, your state will require you to collect taxes, unless you live in like a state without tax, like New Hampshire or something like that. And then other states will require you to collect taxes if you sell more than certain thresholds. And some of those thresholds are like $2,500, $10,000 of sales into that state before you have to collect taxes for them. So, totally doable. It's actually not as big a concern, I think, as a lot of people worry that it is. Etsy products need to be renewed every 4 months. Thanks, guys. Thanks for sharing that. I thought it was longer than that. And I guess you might find that, like, yeah, putting your entire catalog up on Etsy could be expensive if you have a massive catalog and some of the books never sell. But then again, if you have a couple of books that sell really well, maybe you could put them on Etsy as well and just get a bit of extra exposure for, honestly, like, what is it? Is it 20 cents? Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it still 20 cents to list something on Etsy? Because if it's just 20 cents to list things on Etsy and just have that exposure, it almost seems silly not to take your bestsellers and put them up there. This is Rosa. Rosa says, appreciate your explanations. There's so information out there in the author world about direct sales. You're welcome. I appreciate that. Okay, thanks, Peg. It is 20 cents. That's something that I do try to help with, is like, here's your options, and here's like different ways of doing it. Because there's some people are like, you have to do Shopify. If you're not doing Shopify, you're insane. One of the women who works for me, Eliza Gale, she has a WooCommerce site, which is an e-commerce platform built onto WordPress. And she does really well there. In fact, her WooCommerce site appears to be selling better than her Shopify site, although she's not doing a one-to-one comparison because she has different pen names, one on Shopify and one on WooCommerce. And the WooCommerce one is doing a little bit better because she's upselling an audiobook, and people are just gobbling that up. So that could be, it's not like it's a bit of an apples and oranges comparison, but it is interesting to see that she is running profitable ads on WooCommerce. And I know people are running profitable ads to PayHip as well. So all of these things are possible. It's not like there is just one store to rule them all. This is also all possible with Square, but I've done very little investigation into Square at this point. All right, 20 cents is confirmed. I think I already said that. Back end ends up being about 13%. Yeah, they do take a percentage as well of the transaction. But when we looked at Shopify, you can see that Shopify was taking a percentage too. Now, granted, they were only taking about 3%, but they were also taking 30 cents. So if you sold a 99-cent product, and I don't think you should sell a 99-cent product on Shopify, but let's say you did, then they're actually going to take about 33, 34 cents off of that dollar product, which works out to, they're taking 33, 34%. So, and if you were selling a $3 product, then they're going to be taking well, math in my head is bad. They'd be taking probably about like 7%. So Etsy is still a bit more expensive, but like I said, they're handling your taxes for you, so you might decide that that's worth it. Well, thank you. That's Gina that said that. Monica, or sorry, Ashlyn says Monica has a Substack a while back about her feeling that WooCommerce was a better fit for authors than Shopify. I don't disagree with that. Monica is a smart human being with a lot of experience, and I think she's right in this regard. The tricky thing is that, like I said, I could walk you through setting up a Shopify site, soup to nuts, in 3 hours, including all of the post-purchase automations and stuff like that. WooCommerce will take longer because WooCommerce, you have to find a host, and you've got to get your WordPress site set up, and it's a little bit more complicated, although it is becoming easier and easier and easier. WordPress.com is making it, has a lot of really simplified templates. So I don't know, maybe I should do that sometime. Maybe I should do a WooCommerce version. But I think the other thing I've talked to a couple of authors about is I said, one thing to keep in mind is that there's so many authors doing Shopify right now that you might be able to find easier information in the author world about how to do Shopify. But globally, WordPress and WooCommerce are by far and away the largest e-commerce platforms out there. So that's something to consider. Sonia says that is what their payment processor, their fees. They also have advertising expenses we no longer have a choice on. Oh, really? You don't have a choice on the advertising expenses anymore. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you would, before diving into Etsy, you should understand all of the fees and stuff like that for sure. But correct me if I'm wrong, Sonia, if you don't sell anything, then you're just on the hook for the listing fee, right? But yes, price books accordingly. Hey, Sathros, it's been a while. Hi. I used to live stream my writing, and I did sprints on YouTube. So I have a lot of people that follow me on YouTube from back when I used to do that during pandemic. All right, and Sonia says correct. So if you don't sell, it's just a 20-cent fee. So you're not on the hook for a bunch of other stuff unless you actually make sales. So like she said, price your books accordingly. So yeah, so those are a slew of random thoughts on direct sales. And the Shopify class, we're going to talk about I'm going to talk about strategy and the implementation too, I should say, because when you're sitting down trying to decide, how do I want to set up a store? How do I want to bundle things? A lot of it is going to come down to, like I said, the upsells. You've got a 7-book series. Don't put all 7 books into a bundle. Put 5 books into a bundle and then have 2 books that function as upsell that you can get, because you could do, you still have to keep that first initial purchase price, a little bit more reasonable. And you can get a lot of people to buy at $20. I know a lot of authors who will sell a 5-book bundle at $20, and they can do pretty good at that. You saw that mine was $10. It was a 4-book bundle, but one of those things is only a novella. So I guess actually, I think the novella is only $2.99. So I guess if you were to go buy those books individually on Amazon, you could get them for $18. And I do say the full price is $20. So I did inflate it a little bit. $19.99 was just a much nicer round number than $17.99. But I'm sort of doing a lower bundle 1 price, and then I have a higher price for the subsequent bundles. And because that particular series has 4-book bundles in it, I can make it up on the read through, provided I have the flows in place to keep pushing people to buy the next bundle. So that's definitely something that matters a lot, and understanding, what your flow is going to look like. And then when they buy the 4th bundle, now what? Now what do I send them to? And of course, the other thing too that happens when you're running direct sales is you do have overflow back onto the retailers. I work with some people who spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars a day advertising to their Shopify website, and they spend nothing advertising to Amazon, but their Amazon sales are as high as their Shopify sales, because they're getting so many people that land on the Shopify store. They're interested, but they're like, I don't know about buying here, and they go buy in a retailer. So you do get that overflow as well, which is pretty awesome. Hey, Mona. Sorry, I said Monica because we were just talking about Monica Leonel before. So how's it going? Oh man, I think that's kind of all I have to say at the moment. about this. It's kind of the bulk of it. I'm excited about it though. I do think that this is the year of direct sales. I think that, and I said this before in some of my talks leading up to the new year, that my prediction is that in 5 years, the retailers will no longer be the major consideration for authors when it comes to like planning out their launches, launching their books, their retail strategies. And I would posit that in 10 years, the retailers will be looking at Amazon the way that we look at Kobo now, right? Like I could sell some books on Kobo and that would be great, but I'm not focusing my energies there. I think in 10 years, it'll be the same for Amazon. Yeah, I could sell some books on Amazon, but I'm not focusing my energies there because I'm never going to really sell that many books there. That's a bit of a bold prediction, but I mean, really think about it. In 10 years from now, the Kindle is going to be 25 years old. So no company can dominate this sort of thing forever. I do think even if Amazon still maintains a larger position, I think they're only going to do it by making KU non-exclusive. I think that's the only way they can actually maintain a large position, because I think they can use KU to try to squash the other retailers, but they can't squash all of us with our individual websites. So I think that that's going to be a big thing. I like that. I like 2 weeks is what I think the right time is too, Jody. Do you put your books into KU, Jody, or do they stay wide forever? I guess you said other retailers, so you must be just only wide. I like 2 weeks because I feel like 1 week isn't quite long enough to entice someone to do something that they might not want to do. You know, they're kind of like, I can wait a week and get it on retailer X that I'm familiar with. But 2 weeks, they're like, oh my God, I'm going to be jonesing, and they might buy it direct. They'll be a little bit more likely to buy it direct, I think. Especially if you're in KU and you want to launch on your Shopify site first, or your whatever you're using site. I think 2 weeks is pretty important because you have to, you're not competing with KU. You're not competing against your retail, your site price versus Amazon price. You're competing against your site price versus free. So I think 2 weeks is pretty necessary there. Full wide in December. Oh, congrats! I think I remember you talking about that. So that's pretty awesome. Mal, Sonia says, Mal, do you have a lot of customers who have issues figuring out how to get their books on their Kindle? I've done, so as far as, delivering EPUBs to people is concerned, I've done multiple Kickstarters now, and I have been selling EPUBs in a variety of fashions, just less aggressively, on my website for some time. And I have never had a single reader reach out and say, how do I get this book? After sending them the thing saying, here's your EPUB, go to amazon.com/send to Kindle. I actually also, in some of my Kickstarters I've done, I provide additional instructions for other readers. Like if you have a Nook, use this. And if you have a Kobo reader, don't do it this way. I don't actually even do that anymore. Now I just give the send to Kindle advice. And I figure anybody who has a non-Kindle book reader already knows how to do this. The only group of people that I've had an exceptionally large amount of trouble with helping them access books, get books onto their Kindle that I've sent directly are authors. Authors are the worst at this. Readers are fine, but this happened with the help my Facebook ad suck thing. We had so many authors not understand how to redeem a book on BookFunnel. And I've never, ever had a reader reach out to me with that issue. So I'm thinking to myself, like, authors, if you were going to have your readers do a thing, you really need to do it yourself to understand how it works. So, but yeah, readers have been fine. Interesting. I never have. I mean, I do write military science fiction, so my core audience is like nerdier older men who probably also are a little bit better, like they're a little more tech savvy. So that might be part of it too. But I mean, the great thing with BookFunnel though is if you use BookFunnels, they offer support. But if you go to amazon.com/send to Kindle now, you'll realize that you just drag the file into the middle of the page and it uploads to your Kindle. Like it's so much easier than it used to be. You used to have like to open up a special email address, and then like allow it to accept emails from anybody. And then it was a whole pain in the butt. You had to like jump through all these hoops on Amazon's website. And now you just drag the EPUB file into the web page and it just works. So it's pretty awesome. All right, but with that said, I'm going to jet because, as always happens, I've got a call coming up with a client in about 15 minutes. So I want to get on that. And interestingly, it's a client that we just launched a Shopify store for and their first set of ads. So I'm excited to see how that's going and to figure out how we're going to tweak that to make things work better. But I hope you guys have had a fabulous New Year's, and you're like ready to kick off an awesome new year full of like cool opportunities and promise. And I'll see you all next Thursday. Ciao. Have a good one. Thanks, Sonia. Bye, everyone.